Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your go-to source for all the latest updates that matter to you. Today, we have a huge story that could affect millions of pensioners across the UK. If you or someone you know is receiving a pension, then this one's really important. We're talking about the DWP, the Department for Work and Pensions, possibly starting to monitor your bank accounts, and it's all part of a new crackdown. Stick around, as we dive deep into everything you need to know about this new plan and how it might impact you, your family, and your hard-earned pension. Before we go any further, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more updates, and tap the bell icon so you never miss out on crucial information like this. Now, let's jump right in. The Department for Work and Pensions, or the DWP, has recently announced a potentially game-changing move that could leave many pensioners feeling uneasy. The DWP has revealed plans to monitor the bank accounts of pensioners as part of a crackdown to prevent benefit fraud and ensure that people are receiving the right amount of benefits. At first glance, this sounds like a drastic step, and for many, it's a little alarming. After all, no one wants the government snooping into their finances. So why is this happening? Well, the DWP claims that this new measure is being introduced to tackle the growing issue of welfare fraud, which has been on the rise in recent years. The government believes that by looking at bank accounts, they can spot any inconsistencies in reported income or unreported assets that could affect someone's eligibility for various pensions or other benefits. But while it might sound like a good way to crack down on fraud, it also raises serious concerns about privacy, fairness, and the overall effectiveness of such a system. Many experts argue that the real issue isn't necessarily fraud but rather the complexity of the pension and welfare system itself. Pensioners are often confused by the rules, especially when it comes to reporting their income. And with all the changes to welfare policies over the years, it's easy to see how mistakes can happen. This new crackdown has the potential to affect anyone, whether they've been deliberately dishonest or simply failed to understand the intricacies of the system. To truly understand the magnitude of what's going on, let's take a moment to talk about why the DWP is making such a drastic move. Why, all of a sudden, is the government interested in monitoring bank accounts, especially for pensioners? The answer lies in the increasing concern over welfare fraud. Over the years, the UK has seen a rise in fraudulent claims related to pensions and other benefits. Whether it's because someone's income or assets were underreported, or a pensioner's living situation changed without being properly communicated, the government believes that monitoring bank accounts could help spot discrepancies early. According to reports, pension fraud has become a persistent issue, and while not all fraud is intentional, the government believes this new measure will help to prevent significant losses in taxpayer money. But fraud isn't the only reason the DWP is making these changes. The welfare system is complicated. Pensioners are often entitled to a variety of benefits, and the rules about what income or assets must be reported can be murky. Many people receiving benefits have side incomes that they aren't sure need to be declared, or they are receiving gifts or other assistance that might not seem significant but could affect their eligibility for state support. The DWP claims this move will help to ensure that everyone is getting the correct amount of pension support. It's about fairness, they argue, making sure that those who need assistance the most aren't inadvertently missing out on benefits, while also preventing anyone from fraudulently claiming more than they're entitled to. But, of course, this doesn't address the root cause of the problem: how confusing and complex the pension system is. The government has cited the increasing complexity of pensions and the rising numbers of pensioners relying on additional forms of income, like rental payments or freelance work, as contributing factors. These additional streams of income, which can sometimes go unreported, are exactly what the DWP is trying to flag with this new system. But let's not forget the broader issue of digital surveillance. We're living in an era where personal data is increasingly being tracked, analyzed, and used by governments and corporations alike. The idea of government agencies having direct access to our financial transactions is bound to make many people feel uncomfortable and raise questions about privacy and the potential for overreach. Now that we've got a better idea of why this is happening, let's get into the specifics of how the DWP plans to monitor your bank accounts. As of now, the full details remain somewhat vague, but here's what we know so far. The DWP is working in collaboration with banks and other financial institutions to monitor the financial activity of pensioners. This means that if you're a pensioner receiving benefits, the DWP could gain access to your bank account data, including deposits, transactions, and transfers. So, what's the DWP looking for? Essentially, they're trying to identify any financial activity that isn't reported or doesn't match up with the information you've given them about your income and assets. This could include things like: if your bank statements raise any red flags, you'll be contacted by the DWP. They may ask you to explain these discrepancies, and in some cases, you could be required to repay benefits that you've received in error. While the government claims that this will be a fair process, many pensioners are understandably concerned about the potential for human error or misunderstandings, especially since the rules surrounding benefits can be so complicated. The system will likely work automatically through the DWP's existing algorithms, which means that if something seems off, it could trigger an investigation into your account. The government has assured the public that personal information will be kept secure, but given the scale of the operation, some are skeptical about how this will play out in practice. If you're a pensioner, you may not even be aware that your bank account is under scrutiny until it's too late, so it's important to stay vigilant and make sure you're on top of your finances. Now, let's get into some of the major concerns with this plan. As we mentioned earlier, privacy is a huge issue here. No one likes the idea of the government having direct access to their financial information, and for many, this feels like an invasion of privacy. The idea that a government agency could be looking at your bank account activity even if it's just for the purpose of cracking down on fraud is unnerving. One of the key concerns is whether this move could eventually extend beyond pensioners. If the government starts monitoring bank accounts for pensioners, what's to stop them from expanding this to other groups, like those on disability benefits or job seekers? There's a real fear that this could pave the way for even broader surveillance of our finances, with the potential for abuses of power. Then there's the issue of human error. The DWP's algorithms may flag transactions incorrectly, and with so many moving parts in the system, it's possible that innocent mistakes could lead to investigations or demands for repayment. For example, if you receive a gift or have a small freelance income, and you don't report it because you think it's below the threshold or not important, that could trigger an investigation. With so much at stake, one simple mistake could result in a huge amount of stress and financial trouble. Another concern is the complexity of the welfare system itself. If you're not clear about the rules surrounding pensions and benefits, it's easy to make an error. Many pensioners live off a fixed income, and one small oversight could result in an overpayment that could take years to fix. How many people will be caught up in this system, and how will they cope with the burden of having to prove their financial history? One of the groups most at risk from this new crackdown are vulnerable pensioners, particularly those who are already struggling to navigate the complex welfare system. Not every pensioner is familiar with the rules or understands the details of the benefits they're entitled to. Many elderly individuals rely on family members, carers, or even community organizations to help them manage their finances. For these pensioners, the idea of a government agency delving into their personal bank accounts is terrifying. The additional stress could affect their well-being, especially if they end up facing accusations of fraud or overpayment simply because they misunderstood the rules. Take, for instance, someone who lives on a small pension and receives a modest income from renting out a spare room or running a small online business. They might not think they need to report that income because it's small and irregular. However, the DWP could easily flag that income, and the pensioner could be caught up in a drawn-out process to prove they were honest. For elderly individuals who are not comfortable with technology or navigating complex government websites, this process could be overwhelming. Moreover, those who may not have internet access or digital banking services could face even bigger challenges. It's no secret that many pensioners don't feel comfortable managing their finances online, and if they miss key communications or fail to act quickly enough, it could lead to unnecessary complications. So, what steps can you take to protect yourself? Whether you're a pensioner yourself or have a loved one who is, it's important to stay proactive and keep everything above board. Educate yourself. One of the most important things you can do is make sure you understand the benefits you're entitled to. Review the rules regularly to ensure you're up to date, and if you're not sure about something, reach out to the DWP or a financial advisor. They're there to help, and making sure you're fully informed will reduce the risk of making mistakes. Report all income. If you're earning any extra income, whether from part-time work, freelance jobs, rental income, or gifts, report it to the DWP. Don't assume something is insignificant. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Keeping records of all income and assets is essential in avoiding confusion down the road. Track your bank statements. Regularly monitor your bank account for any unusual transactions or large deposits that might raise a flag. It's not just about avoiding fraud, you also want to ensure everything looks accurate in case the DWP contacts you about your financial history. Make sure you can explain all sources of income and large transfers if asked. Consult a financial advisor. If you're feeling unsure about your eligibility for benefits or how your income may affect your claims, don't hesitate to consult a financial advisor. They can offer expert advice and help you navigate the complexities of the system. Keep communication open. If you're contacted by the DWP regarding any discrepancies in your bank statements or income, don't panic. Keep communication open and respond promptly with any information or clarification they request. Make sure to keep copies of all correspondence for your records. So, what do you think about this new DWP crackdown on bank accounts? Does it seem like a necessary measure to prevent fraud, or does it feel like an overreach? The idea of government monitoring your bank account is a big change, and it's one that could affect millions of pensioners across the UK. The truth is, while this crackdown may help identify fraud, it also raises serious concerns about privacy, fairness, and the way the welfare system is structured. Ultimately, it's essential to stay informed, keep your finances in check, and take proactive steps to protect yourself from any potential issues. If you've found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And, of course, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about the DWP's new plan. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and take care.